All right, Bill Hawthorn here, and in this video, I'm going to talk about something that happens to me quite frequently. So I've been an investor in creative real estate financing for 21 plus years. I've bought hundreds of properties myself. I have helped coaching clients buy hundreds of properties, and I think I've used a bank once or twice in my life, and that was to buy my own house before I knew about real estate. Okay, so I don't use banks. It's all creative financing. And I have videos. Right now, this is the final video of a 10-part series where I take people through the entire process of all the different 7 core strategies that I use that are just mathematically genius. And I'm not saying that because I invented them or anything. I've just learned them over the years. Between my $100,000+ education and doing all the deals and just experience, I've managed to kind of figure a few things out and organize them and make them simple to show somebody like you. Here's my point. Not to brag, but to have you understand that I have some experience. And I get asked all the time, how can I make money with real estate? Like next month. And that's a hard question because it depends on what type of deal do you find first. I mean, the way to make money with real estate is to make offers, right? If you're not making offers, you're not getting paid. That's just the simplicity of it, right? And like I said, when I started this series out, real estate is made to take money out of it, not put money into it, okay? The money guys, like the bankers and the money guys that don't know about real estate, they put the money in. So, but I don't even do that. I'm not talking about private lenders and using other people's money. I'm talking about having a seller that has equity or willing to let you do a rent to own or some sort of owner financing or, one of the different strategies that I've been talking about throughout this whole series. Okay? And if you have not seen that series and you're watching this YouTube as a standalone, just go into the comments underneath this video, and there's a link there, and for free you can sign up and you get all the other videos, okay? You should really do that if you are serious about creative real estate or creative real estate financing, because there's a lot of free information there. Way too much. But for this video, I'd like to actually share with you a webinar that I did that will show you how you could actually make money next month with real estate. With an education, you already know. If you've rented from somebody in the past, then you are about 90% of the way there. You know what to do. I'm just gonna get you over the top so you can see how to do it and structure it. Plus, at the end of this short, or this, it's about 30 minutes long, this video I'm going to show you, there's a script at the end on how you actually talk to people and what you say to them so you can get some of these deals. So it's definitely something that's interesting for you, because this video has been behind a paid portal for many years, and I've made quite a few bucks off of it, and decided today to share it with you as part of my email sequence, or my 10-part series. And I'm going to share that with you. And if you're, again, watching me on YouTube and this is your first time seeing me, well, you struck gold. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay? So take a lot of notes. Just follow along with me. I have some graphics. I have some things to show you, and it will click and make sense. But what I'm about to show you is how you can actually make real estate turn into a income producer for you. Okay? And I don't know if you'll become a millionaire by doing this one strategy, but you will definitely get some deals under your belt. You'll definitely get some money made. You'll be able to invest in your career without having to take your hard-earned money to do it. You could actually get real estate to pay for your education. So you do a couple of these deals, you make $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 in the next 30 days if you apply this stuff, and you will start to use that money to pay for coaching or buy a course or get some paperwork or whatever it is that you need. Okay? So that's my intention with this video. I hope you take notes because there's a lot of information here. Okay, so enough with me talking. I'm going to flip over to that pre-recorded seminar and have, it's actually a webinar, but pre-recorded webinar, and have you check it out. And then I'll catch you at the end of that, okay? All right, take notes. Enjoy. All right, Bill Hawthorn here, and I am so glad that you're here. Oh, man, I'm going to show you some things that are going to be pretty crazy, simple, but have no doubt that they will change your life. Kind of a bold statement, but I have to tell you, every time I've fully described this to anybody that I know on any stage or any one of my clients, they go, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It's actually a little bit of an underground secret. That sounds like a marketing hypey thing, but in actuality, it's very true. And in a few minutes, you're going to see that. So just strap your seatbelts in. I'm going to keep it real simple. We're going to go through this video fairly quick. I'm going to show you the basic way that you're going to buy and sell houses. And then I'm going to cover the script, the for sale by owner script, and the flow of it so that you can use it and actually get tremendous success, which is what I want for you. Okay? So the first thing we're going to cover is how I buy and sell houses that nobody else wants using a $100 deposit and a consistent profit to feed your checkbook. Okay? So again, it sounds like it's marketing hype, but I promise you, if you stick with me for the next couple minutes, you're going to see that this is amazing, amazing, amazing. This is not something you're going to find in every street corner. In fact, you're going to be hell-bent to be able to find it on Google. Not a lot of guys teach this. For number one reason is because it's kind of simple and they can't charge $10,000 or $20,000 to do it. And number two, not a lot of them understand it, to be honest with you, because it is really that simple. And they're looking to make it more complicated so that they can get their guru fees. And I make my money buying and selling houses, not getting fees. Although there are times I get paid for my fees, but it's rightfully so. All right, so let's move on. So one thing you need to know is 81% of America does not qualify for a mortgage, but still wants to own a home. Okay? This is a fact as of this recording and has been for quite a while, actually. For whatever reason, the country is just in tough shape when it comes to mortgages. So what this means to me is 19%, which is 100% minus 81% leaves 19% of the country, is actually qualified to buy a home. And because of this, I have found that it is very difficult to sell houses because the people that are the 19% know the golden rule, which is the guy with the gold makes the rules. And so they're very picky buyers. They make you do things that are kind of weird and strange and spend money that a lot of times you don't need to spend. But it's what I call bribe money. I do repairs and do things just to get the seller to sign the contract. It doesn't matter whether it needs to be done or not, but I can tell you almost every transaction, it costs me thousands of dollars to do that. Sometimes it's $1,000 or $2,000. Sometimes it's $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. But every deal is different. So this is the reason why the industry has really gotten more difficult, is because the lending power is a lot less than it used to be. However, like I said, these folks still want to buy houses. So how do we fill that void? How do we help them with that problem? And that's what I'm going to show you now. So I call it a slot deal, which is a sandwich lease option transaction. It's actually a joke that started with my friend Pete, the rookie. I don't know if you listen to our podcast. We have a podcast that we do every week, and it's called Flipping Houses for Rookies. You can find it at flippinghousesforrookies.com. And Pete the Rookie and I do this every week, and you get a lot of tips and stuff for free. So if you want to jump over there, that would be something really cool for you. Like I said, just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, and you'll find the podcast there. But Pete and I were kind of joking around one day, and I said we should call it a slot deal. And he said, why? I said, because you can put $10 into the slot machine, pull the lever, and get out $10,000. He goes, oh my God, that's genius. And it's so we put the acronym together: sandwich, lease, option, transaction. And I'm going to explain to you how you put $10 into the slot machine and get $10,000 out. So number one on the left side of your screen says the seller owes $100,000 and it's worth $100,000, which means they don't know how to sell without a chunk of cash at the closing, but they're willing to wait for the payoff because they're not getting any money out of it, you see? So what most people don't realize until they do a closing, and even after that they don't realize it, is that it costs between 12 and 15% closing cost to sell a piece of property. The realtors don't even understand this because they've never added it up. So, and it's not coming out of their checkbook. So that's why you really don't know about it. The lawyers, and think of it this way: the realtor brings the buyer, the lawyer brings the paperwork, the banker brings the money, the insurance guy brings the protection, and the title guy makes sure that nobody gets whacked later on by doing bad paperwork. And that's really what happens. So the truth of the matter is, nobody's in charge of the sale except for the seller, and the seller is the least educated person in the process. So things that I'm telling you, unless you've done, dozens and dozens and dozens. I mean, I've done a few hundred, but you do dozens and dozens of deals, you don't realize these things until after a while you start to notice patterns, which I have noticed. And that's where I get a lot of this information, just from these patterns that I see. So 12% to 15% is closing cost. I'm going to rattle through them. I'm not here to explain that to you today, but I just want you to understand that it's there. 6% is usually to a realtor, and if you're not using a realtor, you need to spend at least 6% for marketing. I know when we sell houses, we like to get 100 people through the houses, or actually 100 people to call about the house, 20 or 30 people through the house, so that I can get 4 or 5 offers. And that takes money to do that. Nowadays, it's a little bit better, but it does take money to do that. So 6% is for either marketing or the realtor, which is to find your buyer. 3% is your closing costs, which is conveyance tax and lawyer fees and all that kind of stuff. 3% is for negotiation. I know here in Connecticut, if you go on the MLS, you can see how much people are paying of the asking price. So if my asking price is $100,000 and the average sale is $97,000, that means 97% of the asking price is being paid. So that leaves a 3% negotiation cost. And then the last thing is 3% for maintenance, deferred maintenance. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be something that needs to be done right away, but the buyer's insisting on it for them to be able to close the contract, which is what I was talking about before as bribe money. So I'm bribing them to sign the contract. So that's where the 12 to 15% goes. And in this particular case, where you have a person that has a $100,000 house, even if it's $10,000, 10%, which is extremely low, it's still 10 grand they got to come to the closing table with, and they may or may not have that money, or just don't want to pay it. So they're in this position where they're kind of over leveraged. So this is what I was telling you before. How many people or how many investors do you know go look for over-leveraged properties and try to make money with them? Matter of fact, another statistic as of this recording is 24% of this country is over-leveraged at this point. So I think there's a house like this almost in every neighborhood. So if you know how to look for them, which is what you downloaded the for sale by owner sheet for, is by calling those people. I'm going to explain that in a minute. You're going to be able to find them. So the seller owes 100 grand. The house, they can only get 100 grand for the house because the house is worth 100 grand, and they're kind of stuck. And they're willing to let you make monthly payments until you can get them cashed out and wait for their buyout because they're not getting anything from the deal. Okay, so you come along, number 2 on the screen, and me, that's a picture of me, by the way. I give the seller an option agreement using a $100 deposit and promise to pay the $100,000 plus monthly expenses when I find my rent-to-own buyer who agrees on buying for $110. Now, why would the buyer pay $110? Well, first of all, they can't buy anything anywhere else, and they're willing to do that, and they're going to get some principal reduction and stuff like that as they go. We're not going to cover that today, but there's a lot of benefits to the buyer that they will more than get their money back. Plus, like I said, they can't buy the house. They can't buy a house without this program. So there you go. Now, number 3, the buyer's got 10 grand to put down, but he can't get a loan, but he can afford the monthly payments. And they're part of the 81% that don't qualify for a mortgage yet. So you're going to sell to the buyer for $110,000. You're going to keep the $10,000 fee, and you're going to sign a lease option agreement or a rent-to-own agreement with the buyer and the seller. Okay, let me do that again because I kind of stumble in my words. So you're going to sell to the buyer for $110,000. They're going to give you $10,000 down. They owe $100,000. That $100,000 is going to get owed to the seller, and they're going to sign a lease or a rent-to-own agreement for the monthly payments until the buyer can get qualified for a mortgage. And you're going to help them do that. The way you do that is either help them with credit repair or give them time to accumulate their deposit or tax returns or whatever it is they need to get qualified for the mortgage. Okay? So this is not meant to teach you how to do every little part of the deal because there's so few intricacies. If you want to know how to do that, then you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and you can find some materials there that will help you. That's not very expensive, but it's very informative. Okay, so that's the gist of the deal. So you're going to buy a house for $100,000, you're going to sell it for $110,000, and you're going to keep the $10,000 deposit. Which, by the way, you don't need to be a realtor or have a license to do this, because when you signed the option agreement and gave the seller the $100 deposit, which is the purpose of the deposit, which, by the way, you can use a $10 deposit or $1, as long as there's some money exchanged, it becomes a legal contract, and you actually bought equity in the property. And you're now taking the equity and assigning it to your seller. To your buyer. So you're buying an option agreement for $100 from your seller and assigning it or selling it to your buyer for $10,000. So you're not really buying and selling a house. You're buying and selling the option agreement. I'm going to say it one more time. We're going to move on. You're buying the option agreement for $100 from your seller. You're going to go find a buyer and you're going to sell it to them for $10,000. And that's how you make your money. And you could do these multiple times a month. You could do them as fast or as slow as you like, depending on your income demands. And you could make this a full-time job or a part-time job. I know we do a part-time and make a full-time income. So you could do the same thing. It's all about what I'm about to show you with the script. So let's move on to that. Okay, let me get the screen out of here. So here we go. This is the famous for sale by owner script. So a couple things you need to know about this before we get started. First of all, we're calling for sale by owners because the common thing that we're looking for is we want to make sure that someone is willing to take payments until we can pay them off or pay their debt or their loan off. That's number one. Number two, we want to make sure they don't need all their cash now. Like in the particular deal I just showed you, there is no cash, so they don't need their cash now. And number three, they want the most amount of money for their house, not because they're greedy, but because maybe they don't have the money to pay for the fees, or they just had, some concern or something that they don't want to pay the fees. Okay, so if you got those three things, one, they're willing to take payments until we can pay them off. Two, they don't need all their cash now. And three, they need to get the most amount of, or want to get the most amount of money for their house. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this real quick. I'm not going to make this very long because you can practice this on your own, but I just want you to understand the flow. First thing is that this sentence right here, okay, is a tested and used sentence. Please do not change that. Otherwise, you will not get a success. What happens is for sale by owners, 87 to 88% of them end up going to a realtor. Realtors know that. So what they do is they teach their new realtors to call for sale by owners and try to get listings. And like I said to you in other videos, when they call, they say, is your house still for sale? And they know it's a realtor and they hang up. So this sentence breaks that or penetrates that first phone call, so you get in communication with the seller and at least have a chance of explaining what's going on. So it starts off with, hi, my name is Bill. I'm calling to see if you are open to a terms purchase for the house you have for sale. And they will always say, what's a terms purchase? And then we use this sentence here. And we say something like this. Basically what happens is you sell your house now without fees, as is, for fair price, and on the date of your choice, and we actually make payments so you can cover your expenses until we get you paid in full so you can move on with your life. And at that point, they're either going to say, no, I'm not interested, or they're going to say, yes, I am interested. Okay, so you just, if they say no, you use this box here, which basically says, so you're saying if you don't get a full price in all cash, you won't sell. And then if they still say no, you say, would you like a better explanation of how it works? And I have some other scripts that we use. It's called a closing call. Basically, there's 3 calls we make. We do an opening call, which is what I'm showing you how to do now. Then there's a closing call, which talks about all the numbers and how things work. And then there's the deal meeting where you go out and actually do the paperwork. Okay. And again, if you want to know about that, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. There's more materials there for you when you're ready for that. You don't have to do that. What I'm showing you today will get you deals. Okay. So if they say yes, and again, this is a very tested sentence. If you don't say it the way I've written it here, you will have less success. So please mock drill these or role play these so that you know these words cold and for verbatim. If you don't, your success will be less. I promise you. I've tested it and tested it and tested it. You're talking to a guy right now that has made between 3,000 and 4,000 offers that I know of. I just counted. There could be more, but 3,000 to 4,000 offers that I know of, nose to nose, toe to toe, in the kitchen or in the living room. Okay, these are not offers like on the MLS where I just kind of send off some purchase and sales contract and that's it. I'm talking about spending 60 to 90 minutes with every one of those people over the course of 15 years, and this is a lot of experience. I'm giving you 15 years of experience in a 15-minute video. So please take my advice and do as I say. You don't have to, but you just won't have the success that myself or my clients have when we do it. Okay? So here's a sentence. So that you do this, basically what happens is you do this up here and they say, well, I'm interested. What does it mean? You say this next. You say, we are definitely interested in buying your house. You got to tell them that first. You know, a lot of times it works best by doing something with the financing. You have a mortgage on the house, right? And if they say yes, you do this. You do this box down here. Okay? You don't even hesitate. You say, okay, good. How much you owe on your first mortgage? What are your payments? And the PITI on there means principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You want to make sure that it includes or doesn't include that so you know. You ask them if they're current or they're late. And then, are there any other expenses you have on the property? Sometimes they owe their mom and dad money or, something like that. They took some lien against the house for their business or whatever. Sometimes they have another expense there. Sometimes, most of the time, I should say, it's not a monthly expense. It's just that they owe it when they go to sell it. So you have to ask that question. Okay? Of course, are the taxes included? Are the insurance included? You get the annual taxes, the annual cost of insurance, and you get all that. Okay? Once you do that, you move down to this box where it says, okay, good. How much you asking for the property? You need to know that, right? And then you will ask them whose name's on the deed. What this is asking them is, are they the owner? I can tell you very many times I've asked this question, and they'll say, oh, no, it's my mother's house. I'm just calling to get the information for her. At that point, you'll realize you're not speaking to the owner, and you're probably not going to go very far. Okay? Now, here's the magic. If what they owe and what they're asking has about a $35,000 difference, right? In other words, if they were asking $200,000, right, and they owe $165,000, I would ask this question, okay? Will you sell your house for what you owe on it? Okay? If they say yes, you make an appointment, go look at the house. If they say no, then you ask them this, you say this script here, you go down here, say, would you consider a lease purchase instead? Okay? That's if the difference between what they're asking for the property and what they owe is about $35,000, which is about 85%. Okay? If it's more than $35,000, then you use this box here, and it says, if we can agree on a price and we accept all responsibility for future repairs, would you consider payments for your equity? Okay, realize at the end of the day, the only thing you're negotiating with them is equity. Okay? Because they can't change the bank amount, they can't change the tax amount, they can't change the insurance amount. So the only thing that they're negotiating is how much their money is, which is the difference between what they owe and what you're going to pay them. And that's called equity. Okay? So that's kind of common sense there. Now let's go back up here. If you do this box up here, and they say they don't have a mortgage, that it's free and clear, then you would use this box here. Okay, the free and clear box. And that says, great, we love to work with houses like yours a lot. Now the way it normally works, and then you just do that script. Okay? Mm-hmm. I think that's about it. There's a couple more things and we're done. So if they say no to any one of the above boxes, if they say no to either script, whether it's the mortgage script or it's the free and clear script, okay, if they say no to either one of these, okay, then you use this box to answer them if it's a no. Okay? And you do it in sequence, just like I show you here. All right? Then what you need to do is you need to get some other basic information, which is this stuff down here. I'm going to tell you that it took me years and years and years and years to ask these questions. So you're foolish. If you notice the one with the stars, those are the most valuable questions. Okay, the ones with the stars. Okay, so is the house listed with a real estate agent? You'll be surprised how many people will say yes. Okay, that'll kind of change your deal a bit. You have to ask them if it's vacant or occupied, and if it is occupied, you ask them who's in there. Is it an owner or a tenant? Does the house need repairs? Okay, and then what do you estimate a contractor? Now we used to do this without that word. We used to ask, what do you think what do you think it would cost for the repairs? And they would give me some funky numbers. One time a girl told me $5,000, and I went out there and the house needed like 40 grand worth of work. And she says, well, my husband's a contractor. It would cost about $5,000 in materials. So after that, I had to change the question. So what do you estimate the contractor repairs will cost? Okay. And then this, as far as I'm concerned, is the most important question on the form. If you skip this question, you are chasing your tail. This is the only question that I look at first. When I get one of these, this is the first place I go. When do you want to move by? And if they say by the end of the month, you have a motivated seller. If they say, well, I was thinking next summer, then you don't have necessarily a motivated seller. Okay. Now, the reason why it says when do you want to move by or sell by is because obviously if they're not living in the house and they have tenants in there, it's when do they want to sell by because they're not moving out of the house. Okay, so that's why that question's like that. Okay. And then lastly, on the back of this form, what I did is I put some things to cover before doing a closing call, which is what I said where we talk about numbers, or actually going out to the house. And I put a few notes in here. There's a difference of what they owe and what they don't owe, so I put those notes there. And then how to make an appointment are right here. So if you need help making an appointment and want a script, it's on the back of the form. Okay? So at this particular point, you should listen to the calls that I gave to you with this script. There is a call that I did with a prospect, somebody that's very willing to do something like this with me. And then there was a call with a suspect, which is somebody that wasn't willing to do that. And you can clearly hear the difference between the two. So you should go listen to those, and this script will make a whole lot more sense once you hear me making those calls. Okay, it's with actually live people, and it's very natural. You can hear them stumbling and kind of thinking, and there's some pauses in there. So it's very real and very easy for you to digest, so you can understand exactly how it works. Okay, so hopefully I've enlightened you today and gotten you excited for you to want to move on in this business and actually do this, because it's not that hard. You should probably watch this video or listen to this audio or whatever it is that you're doing to absorb it, either audio or video, at least a few times, because there are a lot of little jewels in information that I've just given you, and it might take you a few times to be able to get it. So you might want to listen to it a few times. Maybe listen to it 1 week, like every Monday for 3 weeks or something like that, or every 3 days, or every morning for a week or something like that. Just so you can make sure you got all the things that I just talked about, because I was very casual with it, but they are very important things for you to know to be successful in this business. So again, it's Bill Hawthorn. Thank you very much for listening to me and being part of this video. And again, if you need anything at all, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. That is flippinghousesforrookies.com. There's all kinds of materials there, but there is also support there, so you can go to our support tickets. I answer all those tickets myself as of this recording. So if you need anything or have any questions, you can go there and ask those questions on the support tickets, and you have plenty of help there to make sure that you can get on with your success and actually do well. All right, so it's Bill Hawthorn, and I'm over and out. Okay, that was a lot of information. I hope you took some notes. I hope you wrote some of them questions down on how to talk to sellers. More importantly, I hope the graphics of where everything is explain to you how you can get in the middle of a deal, how you can do a slot deal, how the rent-to-own method is the most quickest way for you to get to some big checks. And you really, like I said before, don't have to go learn much. If you've rented from somebody before and had a landlord, you're almost all the way there. I mean, think about it. You worry about, probably in your head right now, about the paperwork. But if you're renting from a landlord, he's going to devise the paperwork and give it to you. So it's not even like you have to worry a lot about a paperwork. I mean, the only thing you have to worry about is the option agreement. And quite frankly, if you just Google option agreement in your state, you'll find one. Now, it won't be as good as the one that I use, but it would get you started and get you a check and get you, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a fee. Absolutely, every time, right? At least you can get started. And like I said, get some dough in your pocket so that you could start paying for your education. Okay? So that's it for my video. I hope, again, you really enjoyed it. I hope you took a bunch of notes. If you are not in my 10-part series or my email sequence that shows all the different 7 deal strategies, and you're on YouTube and seeing me for the first time, make sure you go into the comment section and click on the link and get into that series. If you are in the email series and you skipped some of the lessons, please go back and check them out, because everything you need to get going is there. And of course, if you need advanced questions, you can always go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Under the support tickets, I answer all the support tickets, or we can possibly chat about maybe getting into the coaching group. Okay? That's the advanced stuff that I have. So, with that said, over to you. Start collecting some checks. Send me a support ticket if you do a deal. I love hearing how people do deals from my trainings. I mean, I can't even count. I mean, I've got over 100 testimonials on my website alone of people that have either learned something from me or have done deals. I mean, I've got people that make $300,000-$400,000 a year from my trainings. I've got people that make, $10,000 a year, depending on how they do it. So it works, and it could work for you. All you need to do is just be tenacious and figure it out, and let me help you. And the rest is kind of easy. Okay, this is not some reinventing a new wheel here. This has been happening for thousands of years. So there's no new trick to learn. You just got to get into the groove and know how to do it. Okay? So again, thanks for sticking with me, especially through all these videos. And I wish you the best. And I really wish that you flourish and prosper in your life with real estate. Okay? Over and out.